Dubai is rewriting the rules of luxury real estate. Once it was a pit stop, is now a permanent playground for the ultra-wealthy. In fact, the UAE is on track to attract more new millionaires than any other country, even overtaking the US.
There's a net growth of 6,000 millionaires coming to Dubai or the UAE this year. To put it in perspective, there's more millionaires, high net worth individuals moving to the UAE in a 12-month period compared to all of the US, where there's 380 million people.
Is it really true? Is everyone really investing in Dubai?
Certainly Dubai for the last few years, and Abu Dhabi more so more recently.
Why such a rush now?
Honestly, it's night and day. The market when I arrived in 2017 totally flipped. Dubai has become more visible to a lot of people globally, more accessible. Dubai has remained incredibly safe, whereas the rest of the world hasn't.
Meet Richard Waind, Group CEO of Cencorp, parent company of Betterhomes, a 22-year real estate veteran who's seen the landscape of Dubai change since 2017.
The reason Betterhomes has created Primes by Betterhomes.
There's a gap in our offering to our high net worth. We saw a real influx of luxury buyers, particularly from Europe, and the new money coming into Dubai was higher than perhaps we dealt with in the past. So Prime was a bit of a response to that.
Why not Palm Jumeirah? What is the expectation of a luxury experience? How important is storytelling in the luxury real estate market? Why didn't they buy it? If you were a luxury villa, what kind of home would be you? What is the number one area every celebrity wants to invest in?
Dubai's high-end property market is shattering records, topping even London and New York. Prime by Betterhomes brokered the record-breaking lease, showing Dubai is making big waves on the global stage.
The biggest challenge of working in celebrities, very often you don't work with a celebrity, you work with a team. Celebrities, most high net worths, they've got a property in LA and New York and London and Monaco and now Dubai as well.
Betterhomes leased a villa at Jumeirah Bay for 15.5 million dirhams per year.
It was the record rental in Dubai last year.
I want to know about the tenant.
We've actually got an NDA with the tenant, so we can't tell you who it was, but I can tell you it was a European family.
Why did they choose a villa in Jumeirah Bay?
Luxury and privacy. You can be in your Palm Jumeirah frond and somebody's there paddleboarding past you. Jumeirah Bay really does have a far more secluded and private feel.
How you deal with a regular client versus a luxury client?
We don't treat our luxury clients any better or worse than we do all our clients. Today's renter is tomorrow's buyer and tomorrow's buyer is the future investor. However, I do think when it comes to a luxury purchase, it is really important that the broker that's dealing with that individual is able to really understand and connect with that person and the purchase they're making.
From insider celebrity deals to jaw-dropping price tags, revealing to you an eye-opening journey into Dubai's luxury real estate scene. This is Beyond Luxury by Arista Properties.
Talking about Betterhomes. Betterhomes released a quarterly report talking about Dubai real estate, the trends, what people can look for. What are the hidden gems in Dubai luxury market?
The eyes of the world are on the Dubai real estate market at the minute. So to find hidden gems within that's actually really quite difficult. You've obviously got places like the Palm, anything along the waterfront is incredibly in high demand at the moment in the luxury space. There's some new areas, there's some up and coming areas. There's Meydan, where you guys are focusing, I think is a really interesting place. District 1, District 11 and other places like that, attracting a lot of interest. So close to downtown and so close in terms of transportation. But what I think within the luxury space is within established communities, you find these little pockets, these little individual buildings, such as 118 or Olante, in downtown and Business Bay. And often you'll find these independent developed buildings that are often the little gems that you'll find within the sort of wider communities. And you have to be in the know to get in there.
Can you give me an example of a listing by Betterhomes in a lesser known area which became extremely popular?
I actually think Abu Dhabi, interestingly, is probably one of the lesser focused on luxury markets at the moment. We actually launched a new project 2 weeks ago called Opula. The momentum that has had has just been incredible. I think we're sort of 4 or 5 times oversubscribed on LOI. So I think there's some really, really fun and interesting things happening. It was quite a fun day because we launched it on the same day that they announced Disney World was coming to Yas Island. So the timing was really, really good. And we even managed to claim some fireworks. I think in terms of real sort of energy around a launch recently, that was very exciting down in Abu Dhabi. So I do think Abu Dhabi's got some really value to be found at the moment.
This is really interesting. And I want to know that how a Abu Dhabi buyer is different from a Dubai buyer?
That's a great question. So if we take that project, there's a lot of interest from Dubai, interestingly. So a lot of our interest for that project came from Dubai.
So people in Dubai want to invest in Abu Dhabi?
Absolutely. People in Dubai who know Yas Island, they know what's already there. Perhaps they're going down there for the weekends themselves. Maybe they went to see Ed Sheeran a couple of weeks ago and went, wow, this is actually great down here. They know about things like Disney coming in. So I think there's a lot of interest from investors up here that perhaps looking to diversify out of Dubai a little bit as well, but stay within the region for the tax benefits and all the rest of it. So that was the biggest buyer from investors from Dubai.
I'm intrigued to know that people who are looking at investing in Abu Dhabi, are they looking for a vacation home? Especially people who are from Dubai, because Dubai has got a busy lifestyle. So what's their mindset when they are looking to invest in a property in Abu Dhabi?
We get a bit of a crossover for the holiday homes. We do a number of deals because we have an office in Abu Dhabi. We do a number of deals with Abu Dhabi locals who buy weekend holiday properties up in Dubai and vice versa, right? And we have the same. On this in particular for Yas, there's a lot of interest around short-term rentals, buying it as a holiday home, not necessarily always using it themselves, but buying it as a short-term rental, potentially using it in void periods if that's the case. That's what I'm doing. I'm buying one, so that's what I'm going to do.
When we talk about luxury and we talk about, it's always all over the internet, it's always about invest in Dubai. All the high net worth individuals are coming in Dubai. Is it really true? Is everyone really investing in Dubai or are they investing in UAE?
I think both. I think certainly Dubai for the last few years and Abu Dhabi more recently, particularly actually from the US. There's a lot of interest from the US to Abu Dhabi. But yeah, it's absolutely true. There was a survey every year by Henley Partners. They track the number of millionaires migrating, what countries they're leaving and what country they're moving to. And I think off the top of my head, there's a net growth of 6,000 millionaires coming to Dubai or the UAE this year. Now, to put it in perspective, at the same period into the US, it's about 3,500. So there's more millionaires, there's more high net worth individuals moving to the UAE in a 12-month period compared to all of the US where there's 380 million people. So that should put it into perspective. Absolutely. This is probably, if not the hottest luxury real estate market in the world at the moment. And a lot of that is driven by, it's the biggest benefit of inward migration of millionaires anywhere in the world.
You started your journey in Dubai in 2020, if I'm not wrong.
2017.
2017,
yeah.
What is the shift you have seen in these years? From 2017 to 2025, how has Dubai changed when it comes to luxury real estate?
Honestly, it's night and day. The market when I arrived in 2017, and I'd come from London, and the market in London was pretty stagnant at the time. It was just post-Brexit, and it wasn't a particularly vibrant market. And I moved out to Dubai and found that equally here, we were going through some tough times. It wasn't that long after the oil crash, I think, of 2015. And Dubai had a bit of a feeling that we'd oversupplied the market. Prices were coming down, rental prices were coming down, and it felt that there's perhaps more people leaving Dubai, certainly high net worth individuals and some companies than were coming in. Now that really changed, I guess, So
it flipped completely.
Totally flipped. I mean, there was a time in 2019 when we were selling properties for less than replacement value. So we were selling them for less than a developer can build them. And, if only we had a time travel, right, we'd go back. Because if that's ever the situation in a city, you should probably jump into that opportunity. But before COVID, we often talk about COVID, but before COVID, in the end of 2019, we started to see the market pick up. And that was just really people sort of twigged onto values and said, wow, we can really get a bargain there. COVID really did change the game here in Dubai. I think for most of us that lived through that here, we understand why. It was managed incredibly well. Suddenly people from all over the world were coming over, spending their winters here, the digital nomads and all the rest of it. That gave a bit of momentum to the market, and Dubai really opened its arms, frankly, and the UAE opened its arms with visa reform, business reform, and all the rest of it. And the rest of the story is history, right? We are now that number one destination globally for business migration and capital migration, family migration. So, and long may it continue. And I think it will. I think the next 5 to 10 years, because you have the push factors of why people are leaving home countries and the pull factors coming into the UAE and Dubai. I don't think the push factors are going to necessarily improve anytime soon. Whereas the pull factors coming into Dubai just keeps getting better and better and better.
So talking about the pull factor, we often hear that Dubai is great for investment and it's tax-free. However, there are other countries who offer similar benefits. It's probably no tax or lesser tax, like Singapore, Monaco, there's Malta. What are the other pull factors apart from this, which make people invest in Dubai?
I think there's lots. I mean, firstly, whenever anyone says to me there's no tax in Dubai, there is. We pay a 4% DLD fee, so anyone investing out there, they should be aware of that. But there's obviously no personal income tax, and there's no capital gain tax when you sell the property, and it's very, very compelling. If you're from my home country, if I've got to pay 40% tax of my rental income, that has an incredible hit onto the ROI, of course. I mean, if I take a couple of those, one of the things that's very attractive about Dubai is the different entry points. You can invest in Dubai at an entry point that is quite open to a lot of people across the world, whereas somewhere like Monaco and Singapore, that just isn't the case. The entry points are far, far higher. But actually, I think in terms of Dubai, what it offers in terms of living here and lifestyle and everything that's happening here, there's an awful lot of compelling reasons why people want to go.
So is it fair to say that it's the lifestyle and the safety that Dubai offers is the real pull why people choose a Dubai?
Well, if you're going to invest in a property, you need people to live in that property, right? And then it's the safety, the education, the lifestyle, the healthcare, all of that is what's going to attract people to live in your property and make the value of your investment grow over time. So absolutely. And safety, let's not beat about the bush. I think safety more and more and more globally, that's one of the key drivers for people coming in.
But Dubai has always been safe, right? So what has changed? I mean, so if you talk about 2017, Dubai was still safe. So why such a rush now?
But I think the sad truth to that is Dubai has remained incredibly safe, whereas the rest of the world hasn't. And, whether that's a reality or a perception, the view out there is that a lot of home countries where people aren't feeling as safe as they perhaps once were, and I include my home country, the UK, in that. A lot of my fellow country people that I speak to in this country, one of the driving factors of them leaving the UK and coming here is the safety factor. What has happened is Dubai has become more visible to a lot of people globally. It's become more accessible for people globally. Dubai has reduced its barriers of entry in terms of visa requirements, in terms of international ownership, 100% ownership. So all of these factors have come together to attract a lot of people here. And that attraction of people here has got its own momentum now. People globally are talking about it. People are going, everyone knows somebody who's been to Dubai. Everyone knows somebody who now lives in Dubai. Whereas back in 2017, that wasn't the case. Back in 2017, I think for a lot of people globally, Dubai was still a little bit of an unknown. It was perhaps something they heard about in the 2000s, and they knew there was a bit of a boom and bust back then. Whereas now people look at Dubai, I think, in a very, very different way than they did even sort of 8-9 years ago.
Probably at that time, people had this apprehension that Dubai is not so modern. Like it doesn't offer that freedom. And recently, Dubai has started talking a lot about the benefits, about the lifestyle, about the freedom of expression which you have, and you can have the lifestyle which probably a better lifestyle than your home country. And that's the reason people are opting for it. Because I've had friends who still ask me that, like, your weekend is a Friday, your weekend is not a Saturday and a Sunday. And you go back and tell them that no, Dubai has adapted an international standard when it comes to these practices, all the business practices which we follow, and we no longer follow the rule. Do you think these small changes which the Dubai government has made is a decision-making factor for an individual?
Undoubtedly. There's probably three main thrusts from the government. One has been around visa reform, one has been around business reform, and one has been sort of societal reform to a certain degree, right? To attract people from a global audience. And, it really is a very, very tolerant place. There's people from all over the world live here, from all different religious backgrounds live here, side by side. Real things that have changed, laws around cohabiting between unmarried men and women, that's all changed.
Yes.
So partners can live together and
True.
have children together without having to be married. And that again has changed in my time here over the last sort of 6 or 7 years. So yeah, absolutely. They've made some real big changes.
Since you have been here for so many years and you've seen all these big changes happening, right? From 2017 to 2025. What do you think has changed in the buyer? What was the buyer looking for in 2017? And what a buyer is looking in 2025 in Dubai?
That's an interesting question. I don't think necessarily there's vast changes. And back in 2017, everyone was looking for a bargain because prices are a lot lower. Whereas today, everyone's looking for speed. They know that if they don't move quickly, they're likely to miss out and prices will go up. I think the makeup of the buyer has changed. Look, Dubai's always been international. Dubai's always had people from all over the world living here.
Multinationalities,
Yeah, absolutely,
yes.
absolutely. That is supersized, right? The number of investors from globally has changed. There's been a big shift, certainly over the last 4 or 5 years, to European buyers. We saw a real influx of European buyers sort of 2022 onwards. That's both sort of Russia, Ukraine, and equally the UK, France, Germany, Spain, and Western Europe. And what we're actually now seeing the last 12 months, we're really starting to see a lot of interest from the US.
Is it, of course, one is about the lifestyle, which we already discussed, right? That people are making that change because of safety, because of a great lifestyle being offered here. What about return of investments? How has that perspective changed from a 2017 buyer to a 2025 buyer?
ROI at the moment is probably about 6.5%, 7% gross on the rental. And that's across the board. There'll be higher and lower. You can find pockets and all the rest of it. And investors over the last sort of 3 or 4 years have been enjoying 15 to 20% capital growth every year, year on year. So there's probably not many real estate markets in the world that is stacked up like that. So again, that sort of return, that sort of interest, that sort of message going out across the world has just brought more and more interest into it. So whether we will continue to see that sort of capital appreciation over the coming years, I suspect that will slow down. I suspect that rate of appreciation will slow down. But as I say, I think the next 5 to 10 years, Dubai will continue to attract, continue to bring people in, and that will continue to keep the market very buoyant.
Is this the reason? Because we are talking about this huge shift that has happened in the buyer's mind, that has happened in Dubai market, or how Dubai has marketed itself. Is this the reason Betterhomes has created Primes by Betterhomes?
Well, yes, fundamentally. There was a gap in our offering to our high net worth. So it'll be our 40th year next year. So we've been in this marketplace for 39 and a half years, and we've been selling luxury properties for as long as they've been in Dubai. But the luxury segment of the real estate market really did kick up and kick on from about 2022 onwards. And as I said earlier, we saw a real influx of luxury buyers, particularly from Europe. I think the expectation of some of the new buyers and the new money coming into Dubai was higher than perhaps we dealt with in the past. So Prime was a bit of a response to that. So Prime is our luxury team. They deal with properties with a minimum ticket price of 15 million dirham and upwards. We have a specialist team around marketing and photography, videography, and we have very, very experienced brokers that really deal in that segment.
You mentioned that there is a change. There's a different team who's working in Prime by Betterhomes. Primarily content creation, I suppose, but I want to know what are the 3 key differences in a regular Betterhomes listing and a Prime by Betterhomes listing.
So firstly, let's content creation. So we have a couple of specialist videographers and photographers. A standard photography for a property for us takes a couple of hours. We always send a professional photographer in, whether it's a 1-bed or a 5-bed, but a prime shoot tends to take a day. They'll often be there in the morning. They might do some sun-up shots. They might throughout the day, and then they'll do sunset or
so more
night shots.
detailed.
Completely. It's like a magazine shoot.
Oh, wow.
All right. So that's the first place. The second is the push out. So not only will it go on our website, it goes on the Prime by Betterhomes website. We also are part of the luxury portfolio, which is a collection of 5,000 independent luxury real estate brokers across the globe. And we push it out to that network, and that is online then in, I think it's 56 countries across the world. So our properties then are showcased and they are in front of buyers in the most, in all the luxury cities of the world that you can think of. And then the third is the brokers that are working on it. The brokers within that space, they are our most senior brokers. They're the ones that have little black books, which are very important, and the networks in that space as well. So it is, it's a real sort of a 360 approach to it.
So is there a change in the process, how you deal with a regular client versus a luxury client? Yes
and no. Look, I think we don't try and treat our luxury clients any better or worse than we do all our clients, really from the point that today's renter is tomorrow's buyer and tomorrow's buyer is the future investor. So I think it is important that we treat all of our clients with, the best care we possibly can. However, I do think when it comes to a luxury purchase, it is really, really important that the broker that's dealing with that individual is able to really understand and connect with that person and the purchase they're making. So it's perhaps can often be a longer process, and often it's a multinational process as well. You're often dealing with people in different parts of the world. You're potentially often dealing with third parties as well. So you might not always be dealing directly with the buyer when you deal with high net worth, and you're often dealing with different time zones as well. But fundamentally, in terms of offering great service, we like to think we offer great service.
It is a service business at the end of the day, yes.
Absolutely.
You know how we talk about that a regular buyer has an expectation. They're looking for certain things when purchasing a property.
Yeah.
A luxury buyer, we all call it that luxury is an experience. So what is the expectation of a luxury experience? You can answer that as a consumer. You can also answer that as a service provider.
When it comes to luxury, I'm very careful with luxury because I think luxury, we sort of club it all together and think that luxury is this homogenistic thing that is the same for everyone, and it's not. Right? Luxury is in the eye of the beholder. For some people, driving around in a bright green Lamborghini is luxury. For some high net worths, that's the last thing they want in the world. Right? So I think to really deal with luxury and deal with high net worths, you really, really, really have to understand the individual and spend a lot of time with the individual and make sure the individual, crucially, is comfortable with you. And only once they're really comfortable with you are they going to go on that journey with you that you can really understand them and give them that experience that is going to connect with them and connect with their family and connect with their life to find them their dream luxury property here. So it's really about understanding. That doesn't have to be luxury. That's, again, we train that in across all our layers that we're dealing with. But I think it's particularly important when you get to that luxury space and the high net worth space.
Understanding the client, I think, also comes down to it's a personalized service because you understand and you value their time and you tailor your schedule as per the client's availability and fix in. Is it fair to say that? Yeah.
We're real estate brokers, right? So it's a 24/7 thing. It's a 7-day-a-week thing. Again, as I said earlier, you're often, particularly in Dubai, although it's quite nice in Dubai because we are sort of center of the world in terms of time zones. But quite often in Dubai, you are working on their hours and you're working wherever they are. So, I mean, a good example is I was on a call with a client in his LA apartment a couple of weeks ago, and it was 9 o'clock at night here, and he's there having his breakfast with his dressing gown on, and we can see Beverly Hills behind him. But that's part of the course.
A lot of millionaires and billionaires are moving in Dubai. How many times have you encountered selling a property to a celebrity?
So I'm very boring. I get stuck in the office more often than not. It's the brokers are out there selling. But no, we've sold to a number of celebrities. We've sold to a number of Premier League footballers. We've sold to a number of Bollywood stars. We've sold to a couple of LA Hollywood stars last year. So it does happen. I think, again, it's happening more and more over here. I think it's a bit like celebrities. Most high net worths now, like to say, they've got a property in LA and New York and London and Monaco and now Dubai as well. So it's on the list. It's on the list they have to have.
The challenges which you face while selling the property to a celebrity.
I think the biggest challenge of working in celebrities, very, very often, you don't work with a celebrity. You work with a team. So you're working through an intermediary or third party. And, that obviously takes a little bit of skill and takes a little bit of understanding and patience, frankly, on the communication side of things. So that's probably the most challenging thing. And then when you see them, not getting too starstruck, I guess.
How is the process? Like, are they looking for off-plan? Are they looking for ready-to-move-in units?
I don't think there's an answer. One celebrity will be after off-plan. One celebrity might be after.
So there's no common parameter.
No, I don't think so. No, I think probably the most common parameter is privacy. If you boil down, and that's both celebrities, that's for business individuals, that's for high net worth individuals. At the luxury end, and I don't mean the premium end, I mean the luxury end, probably the most common thing people are looking for is privacy.
What is the number one area every celebrity wants to invest?
I think there's been some big celebrity purchases on Jumeirah Bay Islands.
I heard that Betterhomes leased a villa at Jumeirah Bay for 15.5 million dirhams a year. I want to know about the tenant.
We did. It was the record rental in Dubai last year, 15.5 million for a 1 year rental. We've actually got an NDA with the tenant. so we can't tell you who it was. But I can tell you it was a European family. The husband had been over sort of 9 months, and this was a deal that took 9 months to put together. It included, fully refurbishing the property, fully furnishing the property, working with a really, really good Swedish interior designer through our broker, Tony, who did a fantastic job on it. Yeah, 15.5 million a year rental. So that was a good day in the office.
Very good day. I'm sure you must have partied hard after it, right? Why did they choose a villa in Jumeirah Bay?
I think it's privacy as much as anything. Obviously, the villas there are beautiful. It's a really, really sought after luxury place. It's probably, the most.
But why not a Palm Jumeirah?
Luxury and privacy. Privacy, really. You can be in your Palm Jumeirah frond and somebody's there paddleboarding past you, whereas Jumeirah Bay really, really does have a far more secluded and private feel to it, particularly that sort of lee side on the water side. So I think that's really why that area has become so very, very popular with the ultra high net worth community.
Why didn't they buy it?
Well, it's a great question. We hope he will one day. However, I think, look, it's a little bit like he's new to Dubai. The family is new to Dubai. It's the first time the wife and children had come over and certainly lived there. So it really was an opportunity for them to live in the property, get a feel for the property, and potentially buy it or similar in a year or two. Now, this is a villa that was on the market at 280. So yes, a 15.5 is a lot, but it was on the market at 280. So actually it works out 6%, which is probably about right on a yield basis for the asset. So it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to pay on rent. However, if you have that sort of money and you're thinking about making a purchase of around 250 to 300 million, probably not a bad idea to live in the area for a year first, get a feel for it before you make that sort of size of a purchase.
Do they have other investments in Dubai?
Does he have other investments in Dubai? Do you know? I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I should ask, shouldn't I?
Yeah, I mean, I want to know that, okay, if it's the first choice, because you mentioned that the tenant is new. However, someone having so much of money, someone having 15.5 million and leasing out a villa, why would he not invest and buy a villa? If not this, then probably somewhere else. Like, what are the doubts?
Oh, look, I've absolutely no doubt this individual has lots of properties in lots of different places. It was more a case of, look, I'm going to live here first, rent this for 12 months, get a feel for it, and if we like it, we will then buy something. So when we're talking those sort of sums of money, if you're talking about spending upwards of 300 million on a purchase, it does make sense to spend 15.5 on 1 year to make sure that you really are sure about the place if you're new to towns. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to do.
So you have recently been promoted from the CEO of Betterhomes to the CEO of Cencorp, which is a group company which has more than 11 brands, if I'm not wrong, and it goes beyond real estate.
Yes. We have, I think, 13 brands. We have 42 trade licenses across 13 brands. So a lot of the brands do multiple things. But yeah, it's...
So how do you feel, since it's obviously a great shift and you must be feeling great, but what do you expect when it comes to going beyond real estate now? Really,
but Cencorp is about offering the clients that come through a real A to Z service. So we have 4 brands within the brokerage space. We have Betterhomes, Prime by Betterhomes, CRC, which is a commercial brand, and we have Linda's Real Estate, which is a boutique agency predominantly there to help working mothers back into the workplace as brokers, which is great, and they're doing a fantastic job. But we have other businesses that then support our customers through both their buying journey and then beyond. So not just the buying journey, the living journey, whether that be in commercial and fit outs. We do commercial fit out, home fit outs. Earlier, you were very much focused as Betterhomes in selling the real estate units. And now you're creating that ecosystem, or you have created that ecosystem in which you're extending your services. And once you get the buyer gets everything from Betterhomes. Doesn't have to go anywhere else. So what was the inspiration behind Cencorp? Well, actually, I used to do acquisition work. So my role back in the UK for many, many years ago was acquisitions. I used to buy real estate brokerages and I used to plug them into a network of estate agencies around the UK. And in doing that, I was exposed to a multi-branded approach. So we used to have 4 or 5 brands in each city. And those brands were focused on slightly different segments of each market,
Hmm.
with the view being that it's quite difficult with one brand
Yeah.
to try and capture a full market because it's hard to be everything to everybody. So when I first came to Betterhomes and I met with Ryan, who's the chairman, I came with a view of we should have multiple brands in this market. We should have a brand that focuses on this segment. We should have a brand that focuses on commercial. And that evolved over time. So we have 4 brands, one focused on luxury, one focused on commercial, Betterhomes, which is a full market brand. And then we have Linda's Real Estate, which focuses really on a segment of brokers. So that's a team of working mothers, and it was a business set up to encourage working mothers into the industry and support them in that, which has been great. So that was my background, having this multi-branded approach, which we did. And then it's just naturally gone beyond that. We've grown brands beyond just the buying and rental service into all sorts of other things, from fit out businesses, commercial fit out, FM businesses, conveyancing, mortgages, and we're now selling water filters. So lots of fun things.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you having water filters?
Where the Dubai Can initiative came out a few years ago, we were sort of kicking around ideas, which is great, right? Which is great. And then Zubin, who's fantastic, Zubin's one of our partners and runs Octopus, he came up with the idea of installing water filters. And it started off as a bit of an idea a few years ago. And now we're the number one installer of RO water filters in the UAE, which is great. And we're about to launch our own water filter brand in the next few months.
Amazing. Talking about your experience or talking about your background, I have something very interesting. I read that you have studied law and criminology. How did you end up in real estate?
Well, when you do law and criminology, most people think it's either you're going to be a policeman or a criminal. And I decided I won't do either of those. My staff have heard me say this so many times, but I studied law for 4 years and then I practiced it for 4 days and very quickly realized it wasn't for me. Great study and all the rest of it, and I enjoyed it. But my mind works better, I think, thinking a sort of more sort of grander strategic level rather than very minutiae of detail, which you need to be a very good lawyer. And I'm probably just better off at speaking to people than I am sat behind a desk looking at files and contracts all day. But I never really sort of planned to be an estate agent or a real estate agent. I came out of law. I thought I'll go and sell some houses in London for a year. I'll make some money. And here I am 22 years later, still doing it.
When you had that lightning bulb moment saying that I want to be a top real estate agent,
Probably 2 or 3 years into it, if I'm honest.
was it after like a big deal which you closed and you realize, okay, I can make so much money, let me just continue doing this?
So you remember, I started as an estate agent in the UK. We weren't making anywhere near the money these real estate brokers in Dubai make today. So it was a very, very different thing, right? So it wasn't that there was just one huge sale and then I was like, wow, I'm rich. My first 6 months in estate agents was really tough, really, really tough. I couldn't sort of get the patter down. I couldn't really get my conversations out. I struggled with it a lot. Very much like I'm sure there's many, many real estate brokers here in Dubai today, potentially watching this going, I'm struggling in the first 6 months. I think that is the rite of passage, particularly when you're new into the industry. But I had a good friend of mine who I was living with at the time or working with at the time, and he used to make me role play with him. True story.
Wow.
On the drive to work. So we used to role play conversations, and I slowly got a little bit better, and getting a little bit better, your confidence increases. And within sort of 6 months or a year, I was doing pretty well and I was enjoying it. It's sort of the light bulb moment, if you will, really probably came a couple of years in. And that was really as the sort of my career had sort of taken a couple of steps forward and I was sort of running a team, I was into management. And that's what I really enjoy. Still selling. I've always sold it. Today, I'm still out there doing BD work and everything. I still love the thrill of the chase and a close, but it's slightly different than selling houses it used to be. But I think probably a couple of years in when I really sort of found my groove.
Today, everyone wants to move to Dubai. But in
Yes.
2017,
Yeah.
you made a decision to move to Dubai and make your career here.
I'm from Manchester. The reason why Manchester exists is absolutely true, is because it's the rainiest city in the UK. Because back 200 years ago, when they were making all the cotton mills there, they needed the moisture in the air to make the cotton mills, right? So I was brought up in the wettest, rainiest part of the wettest island in the whole world. So it rained until I was about 18. All I ever saw was rain. So the opportunity to live in Dubai was like a dream come true.
How often do you miss rain?
I'm going this weekend. I'm going to the UK this weekend, but the weather looks really nice. So I'm looking forward to it.
Wow, you must be hating Dubai summers then.
I love Dubai summers. This is the only thing I struggle with and advise someone. I've got to be really careful of this. Why did I leave the UK? It was an opportunity. I wasn't looking to move to Dubai. I was given the opportunity to meet with Ryan, our chairman, and I've always viewed the world, if you get an opportunity to meet someone interesting, even if nothing comes of it, go and meet them, because you never know what might happen in the future. And me and Ryan, we were supposed to meet for an hour, and he had his pregnant wife with him. And 3 hours later, we were still talking, and then I heard a knock on the window. We looked up, and there's this heavily pregnant lady outside on Marylebone High Street in London. And Ryan said, "Oh, that's my wife. I better go." And poor lady had been walking up and down Marylebone High Street for 3 hours while we were chatting. But that conversation was great.
And that's what changed your mind.
Correct.
I mean, that's convinced you.
I left that conversation going, I'm going to move to Dubai. I better have a conversation with my own wife about it, see what she thinks. But yeah, that's how it happened. It was serendipity. It was a chance, really.
Is your family happy after moving to Dubai as well?
If you ask them, they would move back to the UK tomorrow. But that's because they only ever go to the UK at Christmas, and they have their summer holidays there.
Yeah, like me. Like I've only been to for holidays.
Exactly, right? So for them, it's Christmas, it's family, it's nice weather. They've not been trudging to school on a school bus in the middle of February where it's dark in the morning, it's dark at night, and it rains all day. So they've only seen the best of it. But that's great. I want them to have that sort of positive view of the UK, because I'm still a very proud Brit, and I do love the UK for all my joking about it.
Top 3 things which are different in a Dubai real estate market than a London real estate market.
Number 1 are the commissions. Commissions are a lot bigger here. Number 2 is the speed of the deal. The speed of the deal here is far, far faster. Yeah, the average exchange in the UK when I left was probably 6 months, whereas here it's probably 6 weeks. Not only that, after 6 months, brokers out there who don't know this, you would sign a deal, work on it for 6 months, and the day before exchange, both parties could walk away with no penalty. So you could work on something for 6 months and hallelujah, they walk away and there's no penalty. And then probably the third thing over here is the competition over here. There's a lot of estate agents in the UK, don't get me wrong, but the competition over here is incredible, incredibly high.
It's a tough market for real estate agents. I mean, every second person is a real estate agent now.
I wouldn't call it tough. This is the best real estate market in the world, bar none. This is the best real estate market in the world if you want to do well and earn money. But it's also the most competitive real estate market in the world. So you have to work harder than you've ever worked before. You've got to really listen and be patient and grow a network. You've got to have a little bit of luck, but you create your own luck by working hard and all the rest of it. But if you're going to make it anywhere, this is the place to do it, undoubtedly.
When you recruit talent, what are the top 5 things you look for?
One thing is attitude. Because we will hire experienced brokers from the UK, experienced brokers from across the world. We'll hire salespeople who've not done real estate necessarily. We hire a lot of people from the airlines, a lot of cabin crew.
Really?
Absolutely. Well, there's 3 things about cabin crew. 1, they know how to work hard, right? Number 2, they know how to be immediate with people. Okay, so they immediately connect with people. And 3, they know how to work with difficult people. All right.
And they're also disciplined. I think they're good with time.
And they're disciplined. Okay, so you put those 3 or 4 things together, you've got the core of a very good real estate broker. Some of our very best brokers were cabin crew. We will bring a lot of different people and lots of different talents in. The one thing I think is universal amongst good people and crucially against good teams, and we want to be a good team, not just a group of individual people who don't work together. It's about attitude. It's about making sure you've got the right attitude. If you've got the right attitude, everything else will fall into place.
What is the right attitude in a broker?
Fundamentally, you have to be positive, hardworking, patient. Don't give up. As I said earlier, it's the best real estate market in the world, but it can be tough. The commissions can be huge, but the knockbacks can be every day. And it is all about attitude. Do you have that attitude where you'll dust yourself off, go again in a positive way? If you are negative, it's not my fault, there's a problem with the world, it's a problem with the marketing, it's a problem with the company.
The market is crashing.
More importantly for me, if you have the wrong attitude, there's people, and negative people in any business are a cancer. Success is lonely. Success is lonely because success means hard work. Success means sacrifice. It can be really, really lonely, but failure can be lonely too. And the problem with that is people who are failing, they don't want to fail alone. So they'll look for other people to fail with them, and they will try and pull people down with them. And that is the worst thing in any team. That's the worst thing in any sales team or any sports team. And that's what you've got to be really, really careful about. And when we say attitude, We want the people that are going to come in every day, rain or shine, and do their best.
They have to be very self-motivated, I suppose, because the deal may take months sometimes to close. Persistence is the key.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be patient. You've got to dust yourself off and go again. But motivation comes and goes, right? We're all motivated one day. We're not motivated the other day. So discipline, and again, it's a bit of a tried and tested old phrase, but discipline over motivation any day of the week. Somebody will come in and go, even when I'm not motivated, I will do the things I need to do.
Still show up.
Yeah, so show up, make the calls, do the callbacks, do the follow-ups, do the things you need to do, even on the days you're not motivated, and that will get you success over the long term.
How were you able to motivate yourself when you started in real estate?
Fundamentally, I enjoy it. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy sales. I've been always fairly competitive, and that, just to go up and ring the bell and get my name up on a board and write my name up and some numbers, those sort of things used to get the juices going, and they still do, frankly.
And it still works, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The happiest sound in my day is when I hear one of the bells going off on the sales floor and the guys cheering and whooping for someone doing their first deal. 22 years in, it puts a smile on my face every time.
How important is storytelling in the luxury real estate market?
In the luxury space, look, I think in the luxury space, connection and feel from the client probably outweighs the price tag in many regards. Okay. Now that's not to say, a lot of our high net worth buyers, a lot of our high net worth individuals, a lot of them are very, very successful salespeople, and they're not frivolous with their money. However, there's an elasticity to their pricing that you might not have at a lower level. So I think certainly if you can really find a property, connect with a buyer, connect with the family of the buyer, then yeah, absolutely, that can be far more important.
So establishing that trust is far more important than the pricing. But that's a universal law when it comes to sales, isn't it?
It is. But when, as I say, that elasticity, the ability to actually increase budget, when that's there, then perhaps you can work with that emotional attachment a little bit more than you can with other buyers.
Has it been a case where you particularly pushed a client to increase the budget when they were making a choice to buy their first apartment or a first house?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, the reality when we set budgets, it's a negotiation. If I'm going to buy a property here,
I'm going to make notes.
Yeah, but if I'm coming here to speak to you to buy something, I will know what I will want to pay, but I'll probably tell you slightly less than I'm willing to pay. So that's the first thing. We used to say, when a buyer gives you a budget, they're giving you the bottom end of their budget. In their mind, they already think there's a little bit of leeway in there. So understand that. So we'll push it a little bit higher. The competing factors are size, location, and value and price. And nobody ever gets everything they want. Nobody ever gets the perfect location, the perfect size, and for exactly the right price. It tends to be a bit of a negotiation or a bit of a compromise between those three. And often people can't necessarily compromise on their size. I've got 3 kids. We're not going to move into a studio.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Location.
Maybe.
But often, the school's involved, and there's places we want to live, or we might have a heart set in a community, or where we commute to work. So again, there's an element of that, but not always. The thing that tends to be a little bit more negotiable is the price.
If you were a luxury villa, what kind of home would be you?
I'll tell you a very brief story. So when I was 16, my best friend at school, a guy called Justin, his mum and dad are from Trinidad. His dad's from Trinidad and Tobago. And I'd never really left the UK. And I had the opportunity to go for 6 weeks with them and go and stay in Tobago. And they have this Swiss-style wooden cabin on the side of a mountain overlooking a Caribbean bay. And it's just stunning. You open the shutters in the morning, you've got hummingbirds, you can smell the rainforest. It's just incredible, right? And you can look down across this sea. And it's probably more premium than luxury. But if I was a home, that would be the home I would be. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for coming here. Thank you for coming at Arista. It was wonderful to do this podcast with you. I thoroughly enjoyed
the conversation.
conversation.
Thank you for having me.